Stream 2 days in a row. Welcome, my friends. It's going to be basically the same sort of chat, talk, answer some more questions. Actually, I would love to answer some of the questions that come up in chat, talk to my friends. I haven't done lives in a long while, so the system is exactly as it was yesterday. Maybe some new people will join today. I do have some music going in the background. Hopefully, it will remain copyright free. But these days we can never tell if it's actually copyright free or not. So we'll just talk about what I have in the system. The system is still set up the same way as it was yesterday. Essentially, the SVS Ultra Evolution bookshelves or stand mounts. Technically, it's a stand mount. I don't see a bookshelf there. SB1000 Pro subwoofers, which is amazing. I have the Arendal 1723 THX towers in the background. Those have done me very well. On the floor, the YU5 passives. These are Kanto YU5 passives. And last but not least, Monolith Encore series speakers here. These are the B6 models. And powering the system, I don't know why my tripod is crunchy today. Powering the system today is the Orchard Audio Star Crimson Premium Mono, 150 watts per channel monoblocks, single leads into the bookshelves. They are bi-wireable, but I don't have them bi-wired. Typically, I would have bi-wired my towers, but I decided to go with the monoblocks that only have one output. So I'm not bi-amping the towers anymore, and I'm not bi-amping the bookshelves. So Pixel Castle, hello, what's going on? Welcome, hello. Today's more like questions and answers. Anybody's got questions, let's just chat. I'm scrolling through my music playlist today and listening to whatever shows up on the copyright-free playlist. Stuff that a lot of gamers will use. Just put some music on in the background. Anthesius, what's going on? Anthesius, because it's Sheus. Caught me today. Yesterday you missed out. I know I went on a little bit later than normal today, so that's what's up. I don't really... Does anybody... I mean, I guess I could turn the camera around. Put my face on camera, but then what's the point, really? Pixel Castle's asking, how am I digging the subs? How are you digging the subs? Honestly, I think the SVS subs were a significant addition to the room. Even though the Arendal towers go down to about 35 hertz based on the specs online, these are the 27 THX towers. I think for whatever reason the 1723S towers have a lower rating at certain port configurations. Now I don't know how that's possible with smaller drivers, but someone in the comments had said something about port size and port velocity, and of course it's an audio, like it's an acoustic engineering and physics thing, so yeah, I understand port velocity and all that, but it's very odd to have larger woofers, more cone area, larger cabinets, and then still not have as low a frequency. I don't know what to make of that. So anyways, the subs are great. They extend really low. They will hit that mid 25s, 20 hertz, no problem in room. Having two of them definitely helps. Helps to balance the room out. With the bookshelves, they fill in that low end. The newbies like, question, will you shout out my channel? Newbie, that's an easy way to get your name called. But I'm going to shout you out and say your name, Newbie, Noobie. There's your shout out, but nobody go visit the channel. You didn't say anybody else had to do anything. This isn't Simon Says. That's a newbie move for you. Pixel Castle. I have SB 3000 and Kef R3, also trying out a passive sub and pro amp. Oh, interesting. what would you do differently with a passive sub as opposed to like a powered sub? Orchard Audio has a limited edition of the Star Crimson Mono Ultra Premium. It's not a limited edition as far as I'm concerned. The limited, so let me, hold on. I'm going to move the camera a little bit. There we go. I might be able to get some more light on there. I'm going to zoom in, watch your face. So those are the Orchard Audio Premium, Star Crimson Premium Monos, the lower model, so 150 watts per channel. And Theseus has said Orchard Audio has a limited edition of the Star Crimson Mono Ultra Premium. And I'm going to say that it's not a limited edition, or maybe you've seen something that is limited edition that I've never even seen before. Where did you see this? And I'm going to have to look at it. JKU and... Hold on. JK Kuzinamics? I don't know how to read that. Usinamics? JK. Anyway, says beautiful speakers. The subwoofers are the real winners in this scenario. But yeah, Star Crimson Ultra Mono limited edition? Not the ones you have, the higher tier. Yes, I know there's a higher tier, but why limited? What makes them limited is my question, because I know there was a bigger brother, but I didn't think it was limited. I thought it was production. So powered subs, Pixel Castle says powered subs with mini DSP. Yes, good idea. Mini DSP Flex, which is a sort of integrated kind of module. That's really cool. Powered with topping DMC7 8-channel DAC. Yes. DM7 is an amplifier. Topping DM7 is an amp. That's it was like a 2-channel amp that you can mono. You can put it into mono. So that's the amp you're using for a oh, or are you saying that your KEFs are powered by the DM7? Anyways, it's like with short conversations in chat text, if you don't put as much as you can to solidify the conversation, I have to wait for you to say something in the next line. So topping DM7 is an 8-channel DAC. Oh, so powered subs hold on, I have to scroll up. So the SB3000 are the subs with the mini DSP. So the mini DSP is doing the crossover for that sub rather than the internal amps. That's interesting. So I can see why you would want to use a passive sub. That's interesting. I like these. The SB1000s are more than enough in here. They're like 300 watts. And this room is only 300 square feet, to be honest. I mean, here, let me move my camera up. You guys can hold. I'll solid up the camera. Welcome to the 12 people watching. I see one thumbs up. What's going on with that? Let's make that 12. This room is not very big. Like, there's the back of the room. Cute, eh? Someone gave me head. Now you know what kind of a stream this is. So this room is not very big. The door frame, there's a little bit of an entrance here. So it's not very big at all. And to have Arundel Towers and two subwoofers, two 12-inch subwoofers at 300 watts each in this space, it's more about fine-tuning than it is about volume, because the volume is very easy, but trying to get the bass frequencies to cooperate in a room this size, even though I've got mild treatments everywhere, some of which I still need to put up. This stack of foam has been there for quite a while, and you can see I have stickers all ready to go. So it's more about integration. Integration is far more desirable goal in your audio system than it is just having new gear or lots of power or anything like that. Integration makes the single most valuable difference in your system. So blending the bookshelves with the subs is preferable than having just powerful subs, in my opinion. If they're blended right, and they're integrated right in the room, then you get a smooth sound, you get a full sound. I think that's better than having just like ultra gear balancing it out. So Topping DM7 passive sub is digital crossover DSP with the audio lens XO. Yep, that's a nice system, I gotta admit. So in here, I only have the Rotel preamp, and the Rotel preamp has 2 mono outputs for the subs. All of the processing that I'm doing so far is in the subwoofers. So the one thing that I can't do with the bookshelves and the towers is I can't roll these off because my receiver, if I had a receiver, I probably could. But because I'm running a preamp, like a proper hi-fi preamp, I don't have the ability to roll off those speakers. So the integrating into the room, like a lot of other hi-fi systems, when you have a preamp that doesn't have any bass control, doesn't have any crossovers, doesn't have a high or low pass, well, you wouldn't need a low pass on a main like that. But for subwoofers and integration, I don't have it. Rotel doesn't have any options for that. Not on this model, and I would have to go up to another unit of some kind in order to do that. Or like Pixel Castle has a mini DSP that does all the processing for you. But even then that wouldn't help me cross over my bookshelves because they're powered from, or they're getting their signal source from the preamp. So I would have to have something in the preamp to do that kind of work. Or I could maybe do something after the preamp. So if I'm running signal out to the monoblocks, I would put something between the preamp and the monoblocks, like an active crossover. Pixel Castle says active crossover like a DBX 22223XS. Yes, exactly. Ooh, that's a pretty good song. It's pretty cool. A lot of bass on this song. It's like EDM for gaming. So my last SVS sort of like live chat got almost 800 views in the last few days, so I'm hoping that we can generate some interest here with this video now that I've got some music in the background. Showcase a little bit of the music, a little bit of the sound. Not too much, of course. I don't want to get too annoying. Pixel Castle saying, going through the same learning setting up subs as you. Yeah, it's a little bit tricky. I mean, finding the right location in the room isn't always as easy as just putting the subs right where you want them to look good. The bass in the room doesn't care where you want to put them. The physics of the room is going to demand them being somewhere different. Maybe there isn't a good spot. Maybe where the amp is better. Maybe if I put one there and one there, or maybe both in the middle of the room. I don't know yet. I have to figure that out. That's something that I'm still playing with. I may be able to even pull them into the room away from the wall and they might sound a bit different. It's hard to tell. At this point, I'm still learning. Exactly like you said. Pixel's got it right on the money. We're learning about this process as we go, and having them in room is much, 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 much better than just listening to people talking about it online. Like myself, as I'm doing now. Active crossover is probably the easiest I tried. Yes, because you can control the frequencies at which they blend, and doing that for your mains is always better. So stuff like using a receiver or a AV processor. So the problem with that is when you get into like an AV processor that can do that stuff, you end up spending so much money on the idea that it's a surround processor, and you don't use the extra channels. You'd be, have a processor that's got 7 channels, Atmos, like all 11 channels, 7 channels, whatever it is. And if you're only using it for the time delay and crossover, it's such a waste. So yeah, getting an outboard active crossover's a better idea. That way I can cross over the top, high past the bookshelves, maybe time align them because the subs might be a little slow due to DSP, right? Like they're being crossed over. They have a module inside them that handles the low pass. The low pass might actually take away from the timing. That way you're not like, the articulation of the bass isn't the same. You lose transients. So you'd want to pull the timing back on the bookshelves in order to line them up. It's hard to know. I need a U-Mic 1 and REW, and if I test and measure in my room for stuff like impulse response, transient response, the RT60 time even in my room to find out exactly what's going on in here. I need to do a full frequency sweep just to find out what my room measures. There's a lot of issues in here. I know dead center in my room, right where my kneecaps are, right down the middle of the room, there's a 60 hertz problem, and it's difficult to nullify because having things set up in the room symmetrically means that they're going to be loaded against the wall anyways. So that's why I was talking about moving the sub from here to here in the middle and listening. The fact that I have two is actually pretty cool, but it's only beneficial if I get them integrated right. It makes no difference at all unless it's just on camera. Like that shot looks pretty cool, right? Like if I turn it that way, you guys see the swords. Like that's a good thumbnail, photo, whatever. But you know what? If the subs in that position and this position sound like ass, then what's the point? Right? Like, why buy two subs and spend your money if you can't get them to sound good in your room? Putting them there and walking away isn't exactly doing the diligence to get great sound. That's servicing whoever you paid to have the subs. Like, SVS benefits because we bought it, but you don't benefit unless you tune it, play with it, experiment with it, move it around, test it against some other things, and then you get the benefit of what they can do. Right? I think we're in agreement there. Like, simply placing the speaker in the room plays sound, but to get the most out of the speaker, you have to move it around a little bit, test it, play against the wall, add some treatments maybe to affect the way that the room responds. Then you're getting the most you can out of the system. Like, my room is mostly dead. It's got an echo in the middle. Let's see if we can, I don't know if you can hear that. Anyways, the clapping's probably very loud and annoying. Sorry, anybody has headphones. But yeah, there's like these panels on the wall do a little bit for diffraction, but not a lot. But enough that when the speaker hits the wall and my first reflection points, it's not like a direct geometrical bounce. It actually does scatter the high end, not much in the low end, and the curtains don't take away a whole lot of frequency because they're very thin, but it doesn't echo in the room. So to me, it makes it sound better. I've got pretty decent carpet on the floor all the way around, and everything has been measured symmetrically. So the front baffle of the speaker is the same distance from my ear, left to right. It's the same distance away from each of the walls. It's measured as accurate as I can for up and down, so the tweeters are at the same level. The leveling up and down ensures that the time arrival of the drivers, which SVS has done this curved baffle, that ensures that up and down height means that my ears are getting the same from the left and right. Things like that are the easy way to make your system sound better, is just move them around and make sure that everything aligns correctly. So in my experiences so far, playing with phase control didn't really do anything. Either I don't know how to deal with phase correctly, or it really just doesn't do anything. All of the high frequency mids and bass from the bookshelves are all pretty good, to be honest. I listen with the subs all the time, of course, because there's no really low end, and to be honest, the subs actually sound a lot better. And why not? Why wouldn't I play the subs with with their matching bookshelves? That's the best way to listen to them. They're still breaking in essentially for now because they've only been in for about a week. Pixie Castle. Yeah, anyways. Pixel Castle says SVS can only add delay to sub, no delay to mains. Right, because the mains are controlled directly from my Rotel preamp, which doesn't have any delay. So the signal from here to the bookshelves is what I would call prime and delayed through the subs of any amount. Whether it's through the DSP naturally, the amp, it won't delay the sound to the bookshelves, only to here. So it's something I'm testing. I want to get like really quick articulate bass, like kick drums, and I want to actually get a measurement, like play the bookshelves on their own and then play the subs maybe on their, I guess not really on their own, but see if there's any kind of difference between the two when I hook them up. And Theseus is saying, ugh, I need to get a preamp. Pixel Castle saying, that's why I tried mini DSP, can add delay to mains to timeline. Yes, you can. And that is probably the direction I might have to go to get something like a active crossover before my amps. Or actually, there's a cute dog outside. My one of my neighbors is walking his dog. You can't really see it through the window, but yeah. So the active crossover mini DSP to control the mains. And if you had some other kind of processor that you can add to the system to balance these two together, I agree that it's probably a good idea, unless you had something like the NAD systems. NAD has Dirac built into their preamps for 2-channel, which is incredible. Their Master Series, the M33 or M66 preamps. It's really expensive. They have integrateds that you can get, but that will allow you to do your bass control, your main control, and run room correction. So you're still spending a little bit extra. Either you're buying into a type of preamp system that's got Dirac included, or a mini DSP module or something like that in order to get the time arrival correct. But to highlight what we're talking about, the idea is time arrival, right? Like we can agree on that what we're talking about is time arrival. We're still dealing with the idea of it being time aligned, which is why SVS did that to the baffle, and the same reason why the Arundel towers are tilted backwards. So the time arrival of the baffle is more aligned with your ears. So really, the idea of acoustic treatment in your room is dealing with time arrival and tuning it so that your room's interactions either balance or complement the timing between the bookshelves, the subs, the walls, first reflection, second reflection, things like that. You're dealing with the idea of either velocity traps, velocity treatments, or diffusion treatments. And the idea of diffusion is lowering the energy or scattering the energy so it's not as destructive interference, or doing things like aligning the subs, aligning the tweeters, aligning the mid-range, towing them in, tilting them backwards, things like that help with timing. Like almost all of sound and acoustics is a matter of timing. And as my good friend Peter says from Audio Group Denmark, a number of videos ago, maybe a couple of months now, March, I uploaded a video in where I got to listen to the Boris and Acoustics X6 towers in Montreal, which was a debut for Canada. And I got to meet up with them randomly in the hotel. And he said to me, like, basically, timing is everything. And I'm going to have to agree with him that in audio and acoustics and room treatment and aligning everything in your system, I mean, really, it's a game of timing. Thesia says the Borisons sound amazing. Yeah, they do. and I'm still very excited about it. Okay, so here, question time. I'm gonna move this back over here. I should probably flip my camera so you can get my face in it, but maybe another time. You guys have to subscribe to my OnlyFans to get my face. I'm just kidding. I don't have one yet. So here's the question. We'll bypass SVS for now. The Arundel Towers. Now, they're 92 dB sensitive, 35 hertz low frequency with a nice smooth roll off. They're very articulate. They have good response. They're very dynamic. I appreciate their sound. Full mid-range presence. Whew. I'm yawning back here. It's been a long day. So I got an offer on the towers. Somebody is willing to offer me a price on the towers. Now, speaker line level for Fernando Sierra says, are you running subs by line level or speaker level? It's line level dual mono from the Rotel preamp. I can't show you the rear of the machine, but it is line level. They're pretty good cables too. Yeah, so line level. I'm not sure, would speaker level create a difference? Would the timing be different? Because I feel like if they're speaker level, I don't know if there's much of a, if there's any kind of like a DSP or signal difference in, maybe, I don't know. I mean, if I'm still running a low pass filter, I feel like that's still digital somehow. So then I wonder if that amplifier module in the back is taking the analog input, converting it to digital, managing the signal, and then converting it back to analog for the amplifier section. I have to ask SVS. And this is why I think that like subwoofers inherently have a delay, because they're going through that much, you know what I mean? Like the idea of like Pixel Castle's talking about running a passive sub with a mini DSP with a pro audio amp, which is a good option. I mean, yeah, they have ADC and a DAC. That's what I thought. They're going from analog to digital back to analog again. And I know that it's down in the, they said like a 20 milliseconds or something. It's really, but still 20 millisecond delay is plenty to actually throw off a lot of signals, especially if you move up in frequencies. But not really. I mean, maybe not. That's why they have phase and they have, you know. So I have Fernando saying, I have heard the signal will be more full through the speaker level because the amp outputs are full range. Yes, but so are the mono outputs from the I don't know. I see, this is the thing I don't know about. I don't know about the Rotel outputs, if they're full range or if they're cut off for subs only. There's no controls. There's no sub controls. It's just subwoofer out. So I have to ask them and find out if there's an upper range. But the subs are still doing low pass. So even if speaker level's more full, that doesn't matter because I'm still running a low pass from the sub to round them off under 70 hertz. So the big question is, even yes, the speaker levels are full range, but why would you want that on a sub? You don't want full range into a sub. You're just forcing the circuitry to cut off like 98% of the frequency range. You only want the subwoofer doing 80 and below, essentially. So I wouldn't, only if there was a gain, like if it made the input signal louder, would I do speaker level? Because I know Rel does that, and Rel manages it with speaker levels, because essentially they want you to have your speaker like short cables, like amp to sub to, and the other reason why I don't do speaker levels, because that's a GAN FET amp and it's dual balanced, so they're balanced outputs all the way from the preamp all the way to the speakers. So I don't want to put a subwoofer in front of a GAN FET Class D amplifier. Just, I don't know how that's going to work, and I would not want to do that. So until I ask Leo at Orchard Audio, or I ask SVS guys what they think about connecting them that way, I wouldn't want to run speaker levels. Maybe on a different kind of sub, for sure. But yeah, Pixel Castle's saying they are pretty fast but measurable delay. Yes, I get it, and I that's why I'm concerned about the integration in the room. Ooh, that's a pretty funky song. Lots of bass. Can you guys hear the bass? I'm wondering if the bass is coming through out there. Ooh, it's a Snoop Dogg feature. It's pretty cool. So Fernando's saying, I have not done such tests, but then you will control what ultimately the sub will produce through the crossover. Yeah, but the crossover's inside the subwoofer anyways, so whether it's line level or speaker level, I don't think it's going to make much of a difference. And this is a 2.2 system. So I have two subwoofers that are running from the dual mono outputs on the Rotel. So the signal's running from here, XLR, to the amplifiers, XLR outputs there, and then line level to the subs from here. And they're good cables, they're shielded, so pretty funky song. I think that YouTube's gonna get mad. What are we at? 30 minutes? It's almost approaching my limit. Speaker levels are stereo. Yes, they are. And you don't really need stereo bass. And I know Rel would argue with you, but I have line level outputs that are stereo. Like the Rotel has multiple outputs. It has two sets of XLRs and two sets of line levels. I just happen to be using the mono subwoofer outputs. I could try using the line level outputs, but then it still doesn't bypass the crossover. So again, I have to say, I don't see what the point of full range on subs is anyways. I really don't see the benefit of running them full range, full signal, because we're going to be crossing them over anyways. And the real debate is whatever signal you feed the sub, it's going to be slower than your bookshelves. You know, that's the debate. The debate is really about the timing between here and here. And if you're not running this on a separate sort of module or running your bookshelves through a module, these will be ahead of the sub all the time. So that initial attack in the music, the kick drum of the attack, is going to be slightly behind on the sub. It's going to make them sound slow, but that's not the right word. It's not actually slow, it's delayed. So, True Voice of Reason, welcome. On my way to second work. Thank you for listening. I appreciate you being here. As always, leaving comments after the fact. I appreciate you no matter what you say and where you come in. I appreciate it. Pay attention to the road. Be safe. So Fernando is also saying, can you probably cut the high frequency to the bookshelves? No, you wouldn't want to cut high frequency to the bookshelves. I think you mean low frequency. And the answer is no. The preamp doesn't have a high pass. Most hi-fi systems that are reasonably older, except for some of the newest stuff, a lot of them don't have a high pass cutoff for your main channels. Main channels run full frequency, and then you add subs and it runs the rest. Still doesn't fix the timing. It might fix the frequencies, but it doesn't. Yeah, Fernando, I understand. I think I understood you. That's okay. I say a lot of dumb shit sometimes, and it doesn't sound right. It's all good. Nobody's judging anybody around here, especially on my channel. Everybody's welcome, unless you turn into some sort of a raving lunatic in the comments. Then we have a process for that. Everybody's being nice and cool, then we're cool. I don't I work like long enough hours during the day, and I come home and I do all the audio stuff basically for free. So I don't have any patience to deal with people that have attitudes about it. It's like, nah, you know what? All the retired people can retire and talk to themselves. I don't need to hear arguments. SVS certainly has some incredible customer service. I love being able to talk to Nick and Larry when I can, seeing them at the show. I mean, the real winner for me was pairing the SVS subs to the towers. The towers have this like, because they're 4 8-inch drivers. Like, let's get a look. Because they're 4 8-inch drivers, it's there's a lot of output. They have a lot going on there, and their bass texture, their dynamics, the fact that they're 92 dB sensitive, they're higher in the room, the fact that the bass frequencies are actually being produced from like up here as well as down here, it creates more of a wave front. Whereas like with these, you get one little surface and that's it. And then the sub is down here. So you don't want the sub doing higher frequencies because then it pulls the soundstage down into the room. So do these speakers use neodymium magnets or ferrite? I believe, it's a good question. I don't know that they changed the magnet for the new tweeter. I think the Arundel Towers, the magnet for the tweeter is neo. These are ferrite magnets, but these I think are neo. This one's a ferrite magnet. It's too cheap to be running neo. And I don't know if they use neo on here or not. It's a good question. I never really asked. All the details are on the SVS website. If you guys really want to know the specs, I'm not the guy to tell you, and I don't want to say something that's wrong. So what I'm going to say is I don't know, and I'm not too ashamed to say I don't know. It's better than saying, yeah, I know, and then I turn out to be a jackass because I told you guys something that's wrong. I'm not one of those guys. I'm completely humble in the fact that I don't know everything, and I will be as helpful as I can. And being helpful in this instance is to tell you to check out the SVS websites and check out what they say about the magnet structure. But from what I understand, the woofers using ferrite magnets, most of the ferrite magnets are in the Arundel, but I think the tweeter might have a neo magnet. I'm just not really sure. Asan Diop Asan Diop. Let me know if that's right. Says I tried the SVS, didn't like closed box. Interesting, because I have the sealed sub with RSL, so went RSL. So Speedwoofer has a nice slot ported. That's cool. RSL Speedwoofers are pretty nice. I think there's a 10 and a 12, right? And can you say why you don't like the closed box? I prefer the closed box, to be honest. This is a small room. I don't need port chuffing and farting in my room. And that's what always happens. A lot of subwoofers that have ports end up having this like air rushing noise, and I can't stand it. New Titans look cool, but got the 1723S. Amazing speakers though. 1723S towers are fantastic. These are the big boys. These are not the S. These are the 8-inch woofers. How much watts are you feeding the bookshelves? Now, I want everybody to pause for a second. So I was saying got the 12, the Speedwoofer 12. It's amazing. Yeah, definitely got some low frequencies. I understand that. Fernando's saying closed box subs are more accurate. They do have some advantage because they don't have this like open air rushing phasing problem with the port. I agree with that they're smoother overall, but they don't get that bump at the tuned frequency, which is just output. It's just a matter of output. But you know that word accurate, and I'm going to go back to I want to go back to oh shit, I forgot what I was going to say. The idea of it being accurate. Accuracy is a matter of damping factor. You can have a really powerful amp with a high damping factor. And I remember what I was going to answer is how many watts am I feeding the bookshelves? Remind me again about how many watts I'm feeding the bookshelves. It's an important question because I can tell you how many watts the amp is, but that doesn't tell you how loud or how many watts is actually getting to the speaker. Do you understand what I mean? So because this is 150 watts at its rated power with like next to no distortion, these are not getting 150 watts by far. Like, I don't turn it up loud enough for that. 150 watts is a hell of a lot of power, and I don't have a way to measure it. So I don't know how I have to say I don't know how many watts. You know what I mean? We don't know unless you have a meter running off your speaker cables. You really don't know how many watts are going into the speaker. So let's go back to the idea of damping factor. Damping factor is the ability of the amplifier to compensate for the coil movement pushing back into the amp. So like when the signal goes in and the signal stops, the amplifier has the ability to hold the woofer in position. It doesn't allow it to keep moving or ringing back and forth. You can get that with really good amps in ported boxes, making them more accurate. The problem is a lot of the woofers and amps you put in boxes, depending on what you're spending, they're not really that good. So I don't know what RSL's using, but some of the amplifier blocks on the subwoofers are really good. If it's a Class D, they're inherently really good damping factor. So I have one there, but that's a GANFET module from Orchard Audio, and they're controlling here. This is I don't know what kind of an amplifier they're using here. It's Class D, but I don't know what kind. So the idea of it being acoustic suspension, which is another way of saying sealed. Welcome our RAA. You guys see his comment. He's really late. We're 42 minutes into this stream, so a lot of people here know. These are, get ready and write it down. Put it into Google right now. You ready? Is everybody ready? You just look them up for details. SVS Sound Ultra Evolution Bookshelves or stand mounts. CC, nice. Welcome. Hello. Hola. So yes, so back to accuracy. If there's really good damping factor on the amp, then you can control the woofer movement better. So it doesn't matter if it's ported, sealed, open baffle. If you put really high damping factor amps on open baffle speakers, you get a lot of control. That's how it works. Now, I don't know how tubes are, but no, the bookshelves are not sealed. If you want, I can show you the back. So everybody write yes in the chat if you want to see the back. I can't unplug them, but I can move them for a second. Maybe I'll move the stand so you guys can see the back of the speaker. Show you the binding post. Again, if you want to see the back, honestly, there's lots of photos that SVS has posted online. You can see all the details on the website and on their social medias and stuff like that. I can show you, no problem. There's not really anything new to see there. Yeah, I can move them around, but there's not a whole lot to see. Everything is basically on the website. If there was something that I could show you that's not on the website, I would. But, you know, for the sake of my efforts and clarity, the details that SVS shows are more reliable than having watched it through my video. So RAA, I hope you enjoy and take a look at the speakers, look them up online. They are really nice. I've been listening to them for about a week or so. Yeah, the bookshelves are ported. I think it's a 2-inch port, but I don't know how long the port is. The back of the speaker is actually also curved. So check this out. Let me move this in. So you've got the angle on this side. So the tweeter's flat and then it's angled by the woofer, but the back of the speaker is also angled and then straight by the port. So you guys, can you guys see that? Maybe go this way. Yeah, there you go. You get to see more of the angle there. So like someone was saying the other day that the speakers are expensive. I'm going to move the camera into my hand, so it's going to get a little shakier, but we're doing pretty good here. So I want to talk about the way that this cabinet is angled. Check out all of the angles just in this view. So you've got one angle here. It's tapered on the side. You see that? It's tapered this way. It's angled so the woofer and the tweeter are aligned. You see that? And then it's also angled on the back. So that's really complex woodworking. Like it's even rounded over the corner. So, I mean, really. That woofer's not even moving. The subs are not even moving. I need to turn it up louder than that. This phase plug is new. It was specifically designed to counteract the phase issuing of the tweeter. So like when there's breakup nodes, this is designed to actually help with that smooth sound. And it works. I think it sounds really great. And of course, there's no movement out of these subs right now. I'd have to turn it up a lot louder than that. Yeah, Pixel Castle saying, if you like EDM, a sub is a must. Yep, 100%. 100% you need a sub. So I can get them to flex, but I have to put on some different kind of music. But I think we're going to wrap this up in the next little bit. I thank you all for joining and watching. I don't know if you've all either got a chance or can like the video, like the stream. I see 2 likes out of 23 people watching, so that's not a whole lot. But also, if you enjoy anything that I'm doing, then I'm going to be doing a series of demos and song demos and all that stuff. So I will be posting sound demos and things like that soon. I need to position them correctly in order for me to get the best sound out of them. Turn it back down. So I will be demoing and comparing the monolith speaker. I will be comparing the Kanto speakers. Yeah, there I am. What's going on, everybody? So I'll be comparing the Kanto speakers and then also the monolith C6 in this configuration, because why not? I mean, it's like a monitor anyways. It's 2 6s and a tweeter. And then I'll be comparing the bookshelves just in that location. So I can use the stands, the subs, nothing else changes. The only thing that changes is this bookshelf, these bookshelves, which are smaller, and then these, which have 2 woofers. But who knows what kind of a change it's going to be, right? We'll just check it out. So let's do one more look at the Orchard Audio amp. You guys see that? I need to dust it off a little bit. And what do you guys think of the amp stands? I actually built those amp stands myself. Put the legs on, assembled them all myself just to have the amps off the ground. So pretty cool. You guys see in the reflection they're connected. You see the terminals. Yeah, these are really nice amps. They're also curved on the side. So they're angled. There's an angled front plate. Really nice amps. They have more bass than their smaller brothers. That's what I will say. Whew. I do not have a vinyl player. Arjun Gurnur. I have to get better at pronouncing names. I mean, we may be all audio people, but I don't always get that right. So let me see if I missed anything. Fernando said good design. True Voice of Reason Park. That's cool. Squirrel giving me the evil eye as I get ready to... Got the EDM and subs. Hobbs Groove. You need to put your subs half a meter or ideally meter behind your main speaker, measuring from the baffle of the speaker. Well, thank you for joining the conversation and just dropping some you need to do this kind of attitude. I don't know who you are and what your credentials are, but I hear that kind of armchair shit all the time. Thanks for just dropping knowledge on us. That has no relevance to my room because you don't know my room's position. You didn't ask me where I'm sitting. You didn't ask me what the nulls in my room were. So that whole comment means absolutely nothing. If I don't want to learn anything, then what's the point? Well, thanks for watching and joining late. See you never again. The subs I'm looking, Fernando says that's the subs I'm looking for. Thank you for the demo. You're welcome. Absolutely. True Voice of Reason. Oh, by the way, the power that you were probably using when you were asked was most likely somewhere around 1/8 to 1/4 watt based on the volume. Yeah, exactly. So like when I have my volume at like 25 or 35 or something like that, I'm sure that I'm not using any more than 1 watt of power, to be honest, because it's barely loud in here at all. Then Arjun, no, I don't have vinyl. I have all CDs and streaming. The music we're listening to is streaming. So Pixel Castle says, do you try subs with Arundels? Yes, I did, and it sounds amazing. Because the Arundel sound actually reaches a little bit deeper into the mid bass, where one 6.5-inch woofer can't really do that same work. However, I will say that based on Mr. Hobbs Groove said, move the speakers back 1 meter. Well, this room is only 10 by 12, and if I moved everything that position, they would be up in my friggin' socks. There's not enough space to do what the man says. So, coming from a point of complete ignorance, like I said, the comment means absolutely nothing. Ask questions first before you make statements. That's my philosophy. If you're not asking first and just dropping advice, you're arrogant. So I did try them with the Arundels, and because their mid bass is more forward, or the 92 dB sensitivity of the towers allows them to play a certain mid range, they were actually augmented better with the subs because they don't reach quite as deep. So you got the impact of the tower because there's 4 woofers doing that frequency instead of just 1. Like not a very fair comparison. But they both happen to be in my room, so why wouldn't I do that? Of course. Sounds good. Fernando says, enjoy your system. Thank you very much. And True Voice of Reason says, got cut off by a phone call. Wanted to ask what the legs of the stands are made of. I don't know if I want to give away all of my secrets. I don't mind explaining it. They're basically the same as if you bought like a footstool or a cabinet. Like if I wanted to put feet underneath the IKEA cabinet, and they have like corner feet, that's what those are. So if you guys don't mind me flipping the camera, hold on, let me get down here on my feet. There you go. So very, very, very basic. I'm giving away my secrets over here. But it is a DIY project because, you know, like all regular amp stands they're very big. And I have really tiny sort of like monoblocks, right? So you are the average says cutting board with feet, 100%. Didn't cost me hardly anything. I made a little bit of sawdust, and I got the legs for next to nothing, so now I have custom amp stands. It's good shit. I'll probably paint them at some point. I had some sort of a plan. This isn't their final form, so that is what it is. It's very, very basic. It's nothing, there's no special or secret there at all. So I think that You Are Average just pointed out the absolute most obvious thing. So let me see. RAA says super nice stands to display katanas. Hope to see more, man. Love watching the PS Audio. Good to find someone who's listening and showing products. 100%. I enjoy this stuff. This is why I do it. I enjoy music. Still barely even moving. Sounds better when I sit down, though, for real. Yeah, I like to have fun in here. And the volume fluctuations basically, like, you know, I'm going between 12 and 45. So I think it's 2 point something volts output on those to balanced XLRs. Absolutely, I do posting every day, trying to do more for YouTube than I ever have before. I mean, it's a different audience. I want to be able to reach people and answer and talk about certain things. Obviously, I have addressed some comments already, and yes, I have an attitude about things because there's a certain way to communicate in society in general, and the reason why my channel is called Psyphonyx is psychology and that kind of thing, and phonics being sound. So I will address certain things that I see in comments because there is an attitude and there is a perspective to have about certain things. And while I appreciate learning, I don't like being explained to, or rather led around by a collar, if that makes sense. Sure, learning is important, but so is like manners and being polite and asking questions before we shove something down someone's throat. Like, there's no reason to be like, I have the answers. I'm going to tell you what I think. I'm going to just inject whatever the fuck I feel like right now. Like, there isn't any reason to do that. We can all just be cool and just say whatever's on our mind and be chill. And you know what I mean? Like, it's no one is the ultimate. Like I said in my last video, unless you are Floyd Toole himself, I am not just taking whatever people say at face value. Having a discussion to me is way more important than someone saying, hey, put your speakers here. Like, really? Like, okay, Newton or Isaac. Like, how do you know? Why do you say that? Like, everything about audio and, like, the dependency of, like, where my towers are, how much space I have, how my walls vibrate, what's the density of my carpet, what gauge are my cables. Like, you can't tell any of that stuff by watching the video. So really, how wise is that advice? I have to ask. And that's why I get attitude about it. Because I see people like that in comments and they just rip and tear and judge and comment and piss on everybody because they feel like they have all the answers. And the truth is, you don't. None of us do. So why even pretend that you're that smart? I don't get it. I don't need it. I won't stand for it. You don't have to sub to me. You never have to come back again. If you don't come back and never say anything again, if that's what you're trying to do, I'd be happier for it. And I hope all of my followers and friends of mine, people that know me well, appreciate that I'm trying to defend the community against otherwise trolling type of behavior. We need a change. We need people to stand up against this nonsense and straighten it out, because you could just say anything online. You're away from me, I'm away from you, and it's not like talking in person, right? Nobody gets chin checked when they're cop an attitude in text, right? So I'm just trying to keep it real, trying to keep it steady, trying to be respectful and command some respect. I command a respect around here from my audience because I want this space to feel safer and better than it is in like Reddit and some of the other forums where people just let off on their armchair. It's not right. You know, we need better for ourselves. So that's where the psi part comes from my channel. Psychology is a really big thing to me, and I think that how we treat each other and talk can get us to further answers rather than just, hey, I read this in the back of a newspaper one day. Pixel Castle says those stands cost $3K. It can't sound good. I like the sarcasm. I appreciate the sarcasm when you make it obvious. I'm a sarcastic person too, so that's all good. You Are the Average says, well done. Nice to see DIY stuff. Not wasting money, of course, exactly. I don't need anti-vibration, anti-gravity, like carbon fiber cable risers. And actually, you know what? How many are here? 25? As many people as possible, put like 2 letters in the comments right now. I'll show you my cable risers. It's worth it, I swear to God. And I'll put a link to it in a message or whatever so you guys can pick them up. Exactly as this guy's saying, or person, because I don't know if you're a guy or girl. You Are the Average says, well done. Nice to see not wasting money where it doesn't count. And he's 100% right. Amp stands, for whatever reason, if I wanted to mount them on something, shouldn't cost anything at all. The legs on Amazon were like $12 for a pack of 4. Fucking unbelievable. And the cutting board I got at the dollar store for $5. So what am I spending? $17 on amp stands? Do you guys, like, is that worth it? I have a drill. I got some screws that came with the pack. I pre-drilled it so the bamboo wouldn't split. Bang. Amp stands. So these are my cable risers. Does anybody want to guess how much that cost? Let me put the speaker in the background. I don't even care if you steal the idea. Just tell people that you got it from me. That's all I care. The idea of why for the love of God are people stealing everything possible and not giving any credit? Like, is it so desperate out there to get attention for free that you're not willing to credit somebody's work? Like, I see this all the time. I get my photography stolen constantly. Brands and companies and people just ripping the photos off and erasing my watermarks. Scavenger sons of... Just credit people. Tell everybody where you got your ideas from. Doesn't matter if you didn't come up with it yourself. Share. So that's what they call like a ball stand. If you have like a basketball or baseball or something like that and you want to just rest it on something, that's what you use. That's a stand. And it comes in like a 6-pack or something like that for like $20. So you can get 6 of these fucking things for $20. It's acrylic, so I'm sure that it doesn't have any kind of dielectric effect to your cables. You know, like your cables are shielded anyways. So I have a whole bunch of them back here. They're not set up right now because I've been moving stuff around. But yeah. Pack of 6, $20. Amazon. Probably even less in the States. Giving away my secrets. Anyhow, okay, it's been an hour. It's been an hour and 3 minutes. Thank you all for watching. Like, really, really thank you. If you understand where I'm coming from, if you can relate to what I'm saying in a way, if what I'm saying is of value to you in the community, if you've learned anything, if you can appreciate someone willing to stand on the wall and defend certain things, then I'm that person. I want to see everybody respected, treated well, understood. Being open-minded is absolutely necessary. Being spoken to the right way is also very important. So I want to say thank you. When are you going to create silk thread cable hangers? When I can collect enough spiders to work for me in the factory. Because, you know, silk is really expensive, and I would prefer that I have a handful of spiders doing it for me. Does anybody know Peter Parker's number? Cheers, man. That's a good one. I like that. All right, we're going to get out of here. I'm going to try and switch the song up. Control by the Prince of Wales. This is going to be a song to see us out. Thank you to the 5 people that clicked like on the video. I appreciate it. That's awesome. Prince of Wales, Control. Okay, anyways, we're going to get out of here. I've talked long enough. I probably set a lot of things on fire while we've been here. Thank you again. Thank you to Pixel Castle, to True Voice of Reason, to You're the Average, to RAA. Thank you for jumping in. Fernando, my friend, thank you for having an opinion. And Theseus, thank you for joining and watching. Arjun, thank you for asking me about vinyl. I'm not going to be able to go over and watch, let's say, all of the people that joined, but thank you very much for those people that did think to write comments. For anybody else who just watched, you can't comment, you're on a TV, you're on a device, you're at work, I appreciate you as well. Thank you for joining and watching. The video will remain up over the next little while so you can go back and listen, criticize, and say, hey, what you said wasn't right, or this doesn't make sense, or that's wrong. As long as you correct me and point something out with points of fact rather than attitude, let's all agree, right? Let's all agree. You can make a point without loading it with an attitude. It doesn't matter who's right. We are part of a large community. What matters most is that we all understand the same way and we will all benefit for it. Attitude doesn't really matter. It's not a competition of who knows more. Trying to make yourself sound smart by tearing somebody else down is a terrible, terrible, traumatic mechanism. Bullies we don't need. We need educators. I appreciate that. I try to be, but I also try to be funny. So, anyhow, thank you very much, True Voice of Reason. Have a good day at your second work. Pixel Castle, take it easy. Recommend some EDM for me if you have any examples, and continue to share your system details. I'm curious how the active crossover is going to play out. Should be pretty awesome. Anyhow, everybody have a great night. This is the end of the video. Please enjoy yourselves. We'll see you in the future. I may hold off until the weekend because then I have to do sound demos, and then the big one's going to be the Arundel Towers without the sub versus the SVS with the sub. Predictions are welcome. Leave them in the comments or watch the stories on my channel. Instagram, Facebook, I have the same name if you guys are interested in following along. Same thing on Discord, same thing on X or Twitter, whatever you want to call it. It's all the same name, you guys. If you want to follow, then you can. If you don't feel like it, that's fine. You don't have to. I'll be back here again soon. So we'll see you soon. Take care of yourselves. Treat somebody nice. Treat your family well. Treat your family better. And we'll see all y'all in the future. Cool. All right. Have a great night. Thank you.